We're talking about the declassification, and there was an article on Breitbart this week about Joe Biden may well have been involved in the initial Russian collusion investigation that started. According to an article in the Washington Post, a circle was slowly widened to include Biden. And according to the newspaper, in the summer of 2016, CIA Director John Brennan, my least favorite person in Washington, D.C., convened a secret task force at CIA headquarters composed of several dozen analysts and officers from the CIA, the NSA, and the FBI. The Post described the unit as so secretive it functioned as a sealed compartment hidden even from the rest of the U.S. intelligence community.
That's what I was thinking of earlier when you were talking about transparency.
Yeah. A unit whose workers were all made to sign additional non-disclosure forms. The unit reported to top officials, the newspaper documented. Now listen to this. They worked exclusively for two groups of customers, the official said. First was Obama and fewer than 14 senior officials in government. The first was Obama and fewer than 14 senior officials in government. So Obama was aware of this secret task force. The second was a team of operations specialists at the CIA, NSA, and FBI who took direction from the task force on where to aim their subsequent efforts to collect more intelligence on Russia. So, how high up does this go? Was Biden and Obama aware of this? I bet your bottom dollar they were maybe not just aware, but instructing. You think Brennan just did this on his own?
No, we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
Guys don't do this on their own. No way. Don't tell the boss we're doing this. Don't tell the boss we're doing this. Unless it's Trump they're working for, then it's don't tell the boss we're doing this. Yeah.
The number of Obama administration officials who were allowed access to the Russian intelligence was also highly limited, the Post reported. At first, only 4 senior officials were involved and not Biden. Those officials were Director John Brennan, director of...
Excuse me, the guy who voted for Gus Hall?
Yes, the communist. Yes, yeah, communist supporter. Yeah. DNI, James Clapper, Loretta Lynch, and then FBI Director James Comey. Their aides were all barred from attending the initial meetings, the Post stated. The circle of those who attended on the matter soon widened to include Biden.
Excuse me, that Loretta Lynch, was she the one who called James Comey a liar?
Yes.
So James Comey, is he the one who called Loretta Lynch a liar?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I got the right two people.
So they're both pointing fingers, just like Clapper and Comey are pointing fingers now. And
they're both pointing at Comey.
So, this is going to get ugly.
It is ugly. It's going to get uglier. It's going to take Biden down.
It's my
guilt by
pleasure.
association.
Well, you know what? Shame on Joe. Mm-hmm. Because you know what, Joe? At one time, I thought Joe, before he went to work with Obama, I thought, he's a progressive liberal, whatever, but he's an all right.
He's honorable. You thought he was honorable. He was good on immigration. He was good on a number of things. He actually was on the team, the committee that was grilling Clarence Thomas. And he's basically responsible for Clarence Thomas coming through that. He restricted some of the testimony against Clarence Thomas because he disbelieved it.
Yeah.
So, that's not a partisan hack at that time.
Right. And now he's backtracking, though, right?
Exactly.
It's what you got to do.
Now he's a partisan hack.
Yes. Now you have to do this in the Democratic Party. You got to go so far to the left to win this nomination that...
And then disavow all of it in the general.
I
must have had fever.
I had the presidential fever, but I had.
Swamp fever.
Yeah. Let's take a call from Tom in Detroit. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's getting comical. I don't think a lot of people can appreciate it because they don't listen to the alternative media, so to speak, the talk radio, and some of these boondoggles. It gets to be like the Schumers and Schiffs and Pelosi's are constantly slandering the president. Now, the part. There's no way to prove it though. From here in the nosebleed seats, it's just basically a suspicion. But I've got another hypothesis. This is all part of a distraction and part of a larger plan. And the country's in serious financial trouble. I just heard a interview of Catherine Austin Fitts. George Norrie interviewed her last week. She wrote a book, some of the real story or the real missing money game, something like that. She's identified $21 trillion that the DOD and Pentagon.
Excuse me. What's her name again? What's her name again?
This is Catherine Austin Fitts.
Wasn't she on Dave Janda a few weeks ago?
Well, she's been around for a long time. She was assistant under quite a responsibility. That she started noticing, the books were started trying to track down a lot of the secret stuff. In October of 2018, there was a board set up, a federal accounting standards board, and it's some secret people that nobody knows who they are, and Trump would have, and the Congress would have had to sign off on this.
Tom, stop.
Trump's a bankruptcy specialist.
Stop where you are, Tom. Don't walk anymore. You're in a good spot.
All right, sorry.
We're going to have to do. I would like to open that door, but not today because that's going to take a lot.
She wrote a book. I mean, and you need a scorecard to keep track of this stuff. And I don't know if I'm going to get her book or not. I'm going to definitely look it up.
If she's who I think she is, she was on Maria Bartiromo, made some charges, and they whisked her off during the commercial break.
Interesting. But she was on Janda, you said?
Yeah, I believe this is whoever was on Janda was talking about this, and I think this was who it was. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and let's do a plug for Dr. Janda, too, while we're at it. Sunday afternoons, 3 to 5, Derek?
2 to 5.
2 to 5.
Yeah.
2 to 5, Dr. Dave Janda. Great show, folks. Don't miss it. If you want to really find out some interesting information about our government and the world, the situation of globalism in the world, listen to Janda. He's the guy. All right, Tom, we'll appreciate the call, man.
And I think the idea would be that, having Trump in there as, if with all the debt, that would be the people who the money is owed to, that would be their best shot of getting the best return. For whatever goes down.
Yeah,
I mean, spending so far out of control. It's my understanding is Trump is increased spending way over the top, and Republicans aren't talking about that.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you can blame that on Trump, though, right? Congress is the one that's putting this together.
Who to blame. I'm just, it's just that you can throw a pretty good party if you spend an extra $500 billion.
Yeah,
we still don't have a 335 ship Navy.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate the call.
You're welcome.
All right. So, we can get deep in the weeds on that one. But and that's a show we should probably take an entire hour is looking at the money. I mean, come on, Republicans are always against or for a balanced budget until you have power, and then you don't do anything about it. McConnell, Ryan, you guys didn't put anything together about trying to but Trump what happened to Trump's 5% slash across the board?
I don't know.
Is that in? I haven't seen the budget. I have to go back and look at it, I guess. But
it's a budget that would have to go through a Democrat-controlled House now. So
so we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's part of the whole thing, trying to do the bipartisan infrastructure. And they said, well, give us billions. I said, well, let's talk about what we want. Just give us money.
Just give me money.
Yeah.
How much money? Just give me everything you got.
How much you got?
Yeah. All right, so let's get back to Spygate, as it's called. And I want to tell people, go to the Epoch Times, EPOCH Times, the Epoch Times, great newspaper. The March edition from this year has got a full story, and I don't think you're going to find a better, complete investigative analysis than you'll get right here from the Epoch Times. I got this from a guy I work with. The inside story of Spygate. Did the Obama-era officials conspire to take down Trump? And I think we all know the answer to that. But it's something I wanted to read here was I don't think a lot of people understand the number of resignations and demotions at the FBI and DOJ. And this is right at the top. James Comey, right? Now gone. Andrew McCabe, now gone. James Baker, who was the FBI General Counsel, now gone. Tricia Anderson was the Principal Deputy General Counsel within the Office of the General Counsel, now gone. Lisa Page, infamous Lisa Page. Peter Strzok, infamous Peter Strzok.
Her boyfriend.
Yeah. Bill Priestap, head of FBI Counterintelligence Division.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Sally Yates, of course, gone. John Carlin, a name we haven't really heard, announced his resignation. He left in 2016. Mary McCord, acting Assistant Attorney General and acting head of National Security Division. She resigned. David Loffman, and that was a name that we've heard quite a bit on Rush's show, too. Deputy Assistant Attorney General in charge of counterintelligence for the National Security Division. How about a Randall Coleman, Executive Assistant Director of FBI Criminal Cyber Response and Services Branch? He resigned. Michael Steinbach, Executive Assistant Director of National Security. Greg Brower, FBI Assistant Director for the Office of Congressional Affairs. James Rabicki, we've heard that name before, Director, Chief of Staff for James Comey. Rachel Brand was an Associate Attorney General. Josh Campbell, Special Assistant to FBI Director James Comey. Michael Corton was an FBI Assistant Director. It goes on and on. Peter Orr, or Bruce Orr, Peter Kadzik, Matthew Axelrod, and Richard Scott. The list is huge.
You know, and as you were reading that, we're talking about declassification, and remember I mentioned about those 4 intelligence heads in Italy?
Yeah.
I like what Trump had to say. Yeah, we're going to declassify. And why didn't they want to declassify? Because it might involve some of our international partners, some of our allies. It may, like the UK is pushing, don't involve us in your political problems.
Right.
Well, you are involved. And so now you got Trump. He comes out and says, yes, declassify. And what? I want to know about he names them. I want to know about the UK. I want to know about Germany. I want to know about Ukraine. I want to.
Absolutely.
All of them. Let's find out about all of them.
Let's open up this nasty spider web of globalist scumbags, these elitists who think they could pull the wool over the common man's
the secret
eyes,
world government.
Right? Yes. And right here, the Tricia Anderson lady that resigned. Tricia Anderson testified that she had not read the Carter Page FISA application prior to signing off on it. Really?
She just trusted somebody. Rubber stamped it. That's your job.
That's your job.
Yeah. I trust them. I get a lot of papers across my desk. I trust them.
To me, it's almost got to be illegal, I would think. Doggone it. It's just amazing. And so I want to tell people, Epoch Times, EPOCH Times, look it up, Google it up. You can find this in the March edition. But it goes to all that phony dossier. How come it's right there? Everybody can see it, but nobody's saying the DNC and the Clinton campaign paid for the Steele dossier. Why isn't somebody from whoever wrote the check for the DNC or Hillary's campaign, how come they're not on Capitol Hill testifying?
I still can't figure out how you can hammer a bunch of phones and delete a bunch of emails, and have a private server. And kids on the street know this stuff. It's not denied. It happened, and she's walking free. How is that? Oh, because that would be political motivation if Trump went after his political opponent in the last election. No, it's truth, justice, and the American way.
It just happened. It happened before Trump ever became the president, right?
Yeah.
So she needs to pay the piper. Mm-hmm. Her or people in her committee, whatever. I know it's her.
She didn't have intent.
Oh, intent, yeah.
Well, right? That's what St. Comey said.
So where's Trump's intent? Not only was there no collusion and no obstruction, there's certainly no intent. Mm-hmm. Even if there was collusion or obstruction, there wasn't intent, right?
Yeah.
They can't prove anything.
Pastor Rick and I were talking about that before the show, and in that case, intent does come into play when it's obstruction of justice. Then intent of what you were saying and how you said it would come into play.
Yeah.
So it's reasonable to say Trump did not have intent there, but it's not reasonable to say it in the case of what Hillary Clinton did.
All right. Well, I want to move on to one thing that kind of got glossed over this week in the course of things, and it was Ben Carson, who made a decision at HUD to start removing illegal aliens from housing and urban development, right? Why are we subsidizing illegals in housing and urban development? We're paying for that when there are so many Americans, veterans, old people, young people, single moms, American citizens who are on waiting lists to get into subsidized housing under the housing and urban development, right? Mm-hmm. And so they called him up to Capitol Hill, and the Democrats just beat him mercilessly. And I've got this one track here. It's a little long because Ben Carson speaks slowly, right? So bear with it. But he puts them in their place so well. So well. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Derek, you got track 3 about